What grade are you in?
Uh, Pre-K.
You're in pre-K? Do you like it? Do you get a lot of work? Yeah? What's your least favorite part about school?
Projects.
Do you get a lot of projects? Do you get nap time still? Do you like nap time?
Yeah.
What's your favorite subject?
What's that?
Do you like math? Or do you like history? Do you like reading? Do you like recess?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure if there's a problem. I think it's a variety of adjustments that maybe we're not making as well.
A huge problem is the lack of funding. And I think that any public education system, and I imagine any private education system right now, is struggling for the kind of funds that they need to deliver the full program. I don't think there's any question about that, that the state aid to the public sector is less each year, and I think that's the biggest problem perhaps that schools face right now.
Like a sort of an immense breakdown in family life, and it's creating havoc in school systems, and especially the teachers are left holding, in a sense, holding these children whose parents are either incapable or not able for whatever reason to form their children with respect, like simple respect, how to read. Most parents are supposed to teach their kids how to read before they get to school. Like, you start doing those things, and in a lot of homes, say millions of homes, it's not happening. So I think, to be fair to the test results and the problems we're in, I think the real problem is not funding, it's family. I think the family unit is under such duress.
I do believe that the economics in our country has gone downhill. I think the whole family unit has gone downhill, so I think that the teaching of students in general has been more of a challenge, because I think the students come to school with far more baggage than I ever had when I went into school.
I think that the curriculum is very demanding. I think it's very demanding on the teachers, and it's very demanding on the students. And I see stress in a lot of people.
Not enough variety of educational opportunities. Not enough variety of educational opportunities.
I think that our problems still reside in the difference between well-funded and poorly funded school systems.
I think if you're teaching in an AP class, you are expected somewhat to teach to the test, because having taught AP biology, there was a definite curriculum, definite outline, it's very clear what you expected to do. So there's no question that you taught to the test in a very specific set in the curriculum. So I don't think there's any question about that whatsoever.
Are now teaching for a certain test, an ECAP test. They're concentrating their kids on just what that test needs. And while they can score very well and get state funding and then be premiered as a high-functioning good school based on those statistics, it's still very questionable what kind of mind that produces.
The other aspect that kicks in here is the kneecap testing and therefore the teacher performance and their evaluation, their rating. And if a teacher gets 5 poor years of an evaluation based upon their student results, they in fact can be terminated. So I don't think the pressure is on you if you're teaching AP classes, because you're teaching the cream of the crop anyway, and they're going to do well in the kneecap testing. But I think put your own pressure on you teaching AP courses, because you want to make sure that your students are getting at least a 3, hopefully a 4 or 5 on the score.
I think we have gone to a level in standardized testing that is too much of a reliance on it, and I wish that we were more holistic in looking at candidates for jobs, looking at college placements, looking at everything. I wish everything had more of a flexibility around it.
They're necessary evils. I think that you know, when you have as many different approaches to education as you do in our national school system, there's got to be one way or a handful of ways where you could actually benchmark students from one school, one region, against students from other schools and other regions.
But I do think there has to be standards. I think standardized testing, you know, within reason, I think there's been such a diminishment of standards in public education that people keep getting pushed along. There's a pressure, I think, on some districts, on teachers to push their students through and to not be too hard, and it's very difficult.
While we have to be accountable to test scores, there needs to be more of a look at the whole child. I really believe in the arts and music and theater and all of that also contributes. Well, GPA is so specific to the high school that you go to and how they calculate it. Different number of credits, different number of quality points. It's not consistent. Okay, so I'm not sure what kind of predictions or interpretations that you can legitimately make about that, other than it's going up, and what are some of those factors that are having it go? Is it just because kids are doing better? Maybe not. Elementary schools don't look like they used to look. They really don't. The classroom has a variety. It isn't certainly what it was when I went to school, nor what it was when I taught.
I think that when I was in school, education was more content-based. It was more memorization was more important. Knowledge of facts was much more important. We did learn how to write critically and process information through critically, but it seems to me that the subjective dimensions of education have taken on a much greater priority over the last 50 years.
There's no home economics. Kids aren't learning how to bake, cook, make any meals for themselves. No woodworking anymore. These kids aren't making hands-on projects. Less time for physical education during the day. They're trying to kind of make that an after-school thing. Art classes are so down.
I don't think we will know the negative impact in its fullness for another generation. We're so literally wired. I'm sure you scientists can tell us how the brain works with technology versus conversation. But I do think it's a blessing, but it's a big curse too. It's definitely a curse. I get worried when you see a family of 4 out to dinner and nobody's talking to each other. They're all in their units. That's unhealthy family life. That's not good for conversation, for beauty. Letting a child just play and to color and to look at nature and to be able to really readily and habitually enjoy that before getting into stressful technology.
Yeah, I think it was like last budget season, the budget season before, they added another math class because Narragansett's math scores weren't as high, and they took away, I think it was art and music, and it still didn't work. It doesn't work because you can't just sit there and say, look at it more, look at what's not working more. You have to become innovative.
Do you think that college is for everyone still?
No, I don't. I think that there's a huge rise in community college, and I think that that's a good thing. I mean, we need HVAC and plumbers and electricians and a variety of those skills that people can make a terrific living and make a great contribution and don't have to go to a four-year college.
If you're trying to make money, I just wrote a column that showed that plumbers have almost the same spending power over their lifetime as general practitioners, doctors who become GPs, because of all the costs that a doctor has to incur, lost earnings, and then the tuition and the room and board, etc. So it takes a doctor 11 years to actually make a real salary, and then they're hit with a very high progressive tax system. So the doctor actually ends up with less spending power than the plumber.
And I think if you look at the comparison of a plumber versus a physician, you have to assume that the average student graduating from medical school after 6, 8 years or whatever it may be, a dental school, they may have a debt laden of $300,000 to $400,000, where the person who is going on to become an apprentice plumber without a high school or some kind of a trade, they may be getting $25 an hour and may make a lot of money not to pay that back. But yeah, it does average out, I'm sure, and I think that at the end of the day, you have to kind of look at what has been your contribution to society over your life. If you're a gifted plumber, that's terrific. If you're a gifted physician, that's all terrific. As long as you succeed at the program you're in.
College is not for everybody. And we have come to a focus where it's college or bust. And that is not proven to work because we have kids getting pushed through degrees with no real skills and not understanding why they're learning. However, they can perform the test, but the education is not doing anything.
I always told my students that the advantage to going to college, they give you 4 more years to grow up. And I mean that sincerely, so that a lot of those decisions that you make as a young adult, you get to practice those decisions in the 4 years of college. Yeah, I think applying to college nowadays is a huge issue for high school seniors. And I think, once again, the amount of money that college costs and what the family can afford is astronomical.
What's the meaning of
Education.
I think
if you would pull all the curtains back?
a huge problem is
Variety of
An immense breakdown in family life.
We're not supposed to sit still.
Simple respect.
You're not supposed to be in our seats for as long as we are.
I see stress in a lot of people.
what has been your contribution to society, to the supervision of
Dollars and cents.
Be wisely applied.
Blessing, but it's a big curse.
While things are good, they're not great.
Do you get a lot of homework?
No.
Do you want homework? No?